Good morning,
Good morning.
and welcome to Family Jewels. I'm Colton Bartell,
And I'm Audie Bartell.
and we are both graduate gemologists here at Suzanne's. And today we're going to be talking about something we've kind of covered in the past, but in a whole different way.
Well, not about a whole different way, maybe a little more personal way.
Yeah. So today we're actually talking about gemstone cutting, and in the past we've pretty much concentrated on diamond cutting. This time we're actually going to be focusing more on colored stones, and we're going to be talking a little bit about some local stuff that's been done, which is pretty cool. And so I guess we'll just jump right into it here.
We've got a retired Coast Guard guy.
Yep.
And he's got several, I guess I'd say, interesting sidelines or hobbies or whatever you want to call it. And one of them, he decided that he wanted to do some gemstone cutting. So we're kind of, he's just beginning. And like the first one he cut, he really didn't think he did that great a job, and I was kind of amazed that was his, his first one.
It looked better than a lot of people's thousandth
cutting. So I don't know, he's this likable guy or whatever, and so we've kind of supplied him with some broken stones and
some that weren't ideally cut and some rough.
Yeah.
And so with that, granted, he's kind of just getting into this and everything, but this whole gemstone cutting thing can get pretty complicated.
Yeah.
So a lot of this and a lot of what we're going to talk about is actually how each stone actually affects the way that it's going to be cut.
Right.
Because each stone, diamond is real consistent, even in different colors and stuff, refractive index and hardness and all that.
Crystal shape.
All stays the same. But the moment you jump into the colored stones, they're all different, and even some stones that are in the same group have different properties.
Yeah.
And so a lot of things have to be taken into account, not only the shape of the rough, but the type of crystal it is, like the crystal structure. You have to take into consideration the color, the size of it, and its optical properties.
And how to orient the stone to get the maximum color.
Or to get the right color.
Right.
We've got like iolite. If it's cut in the wrong direction, it can be brown or colorless or gray instead of blue, which is what's ideal. If you have something that's a phenomenal stone, you want to make sure that it's cut the right way so that it displays its star or cat's eye or
color change,
adularescence or color change or whatever it may be. So it gets a lot more complicated. So what he's getting into it's a cool deal, but there's a lot of learning to it. There's a lot of different things. I mean, it's not something that you ever learn everything there is.
I think there's probably some of them that after a while they've got kind of a feel.
Yeah.
And it's almost one of those things, just like you on repair work or something. Maybe when you first look at it, you go, there's no way, and then after you kind of study it a while, oh yeah, let's do it this way. And a lot of that is kind of that feel that happens with cutting. So like quartzes, there are a lot of quartzes or whatever, and like Colton says, there can be, it may be almost like instead of a crystal, it may be like a massive stone.
Yeah. So instead of a single crystal, you have maybe a cryptocrystalline.
Yeah. So there's all sorts of little things come into play there. Whereas like diamond, you pretty well find like one crystal. I mean, it's not like you got
you're not going to get an aggregate diamond to cut.
Yeah. So for the most part, and right now we're not dealing with aggregates or whatever, but still those crystals can vary a lot. And
well, and they tend to have, each type of crystal or each type of gemstone can have unique inclusions that may affect how that stone is cut or how it's oriented. It may affect the color. We have some crystal or some colored stones that if there's too much heat applied, they can fade or change color.
Or even the wrong lighting.
Yeah. And so, having all these things, aligned properly when you go to approach the cutting, it's very difficult to do. A lot of the stone cutters out there, they're cutting, your really run-of-the-mill stones, garnets, peridots, quartzes, stuff like that, where they can pretty much have a machine do it if they wanted to, but a lot of them are still hand cut. But then you get into some of the more unique gemstones, especially the more expensive and unique gemstones. You get into like tanzanite and imperial topaz and some of these other ones that may have unusual optical properties or inclusions that can affect them. And then you're wanting to make sure not only to get a nice cut stone, but you're wanting a big one, and you want it to have really good color without being too dark or too light,
right,
and reflecting light properly. And so there's a lot of things that go into cutting these colored stones that is just so much more beyond what goes into diamond cutting. Diamond cutting is a very precise deal. This one is, you can try and be precise, but there's so many factors that go into it that it's difficult to do. Yeah. But this guy that's actually a customer of ours has figured it out pretty quickly and has gotten fairly good pretty quick, at least of what we've seen. And so we want to show you some of that today, but we're going to, again, we're talking about gemstone cutting, and we're also going to talk a little bit about how shape can affect color, what the more common shapes are to find in colored stones and stuff like that.
So, kind of to start with, and Colton and I was talking about this before we came, on air or whatever you call it. Went live. And we should have done a before photo, but never really thought about it. We just sitting there.
Thought about it afterwards.
Yeah.
It's a perfect time to think about it.
So anyways, this is somewhat a before. Let's see, I'll get it up there fairly close, I guess.
So this is a rough imperial topaz crystal.
Yeah, and so you can kind of see, I'm going to turn it a little bit. I don't know if you can kind of, it's included. This is actually probably not gem quality.
It's close. It's just more commercial gem quality.
Yeah, it's a lot more included than what you'd normally find in topaz. Topaz normally is fairly clean, and this has got eye visible inclusions throughout the stone.
Yeah,
it's still somewhat transparent, but
it's transparent. It does have some inclusions in there that affect it a little bit.
If I get out of I don't know if that helps any or not. But you can see a little bit of sparkling in there, and that's reflection off of some
inclusions
in the stone. So that's what he kind of started out with, and actually it's not the same stone, but it was a topaz crystal.
It's a little bit wider.
Yeah.
A little fatter.
So,
crystal.
In this he cut into an oval, and you can still see this is still somewhat included.
Yeah.
But actually, he did a pretty decent job, especially on what he had to work with.
Yeah. We'll actually, when we get done with this, I'll actually take some good pictures so you guys can see what this looks like and post them on our Facebook page.
You don't do any good to go over there, does it?
No, you're probably too close.
Too close, you think?
There you go.
So anyways, I guess what's nice about this is this stone is actually cut better than what we normally see. It's just that, we didn't give him a great piece to start with.
No, it was a piece that I'd actually had for several years. It was basically a freebie piece that I won at convention.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where a lot of times, a cutter is trying to get, say, maximum weight out of that piece of rough, and
I just wanted something out of it.
Yeah. Well, and so he didn't actually do that. I mean,
No.
A lot of times whenever they do that, the stone gets too dark.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other thing is,
or it's really weird shape,
or we get like windowing. So what happens is, you look at the stone, and maybe it's a pleasing shape, but you can actually just see through the stone. He hadn't the angles, or
it's just a pretty window.
Yeah, it's like normally the stone is too shallow, so they've got it where it looks big.
Yeah.
And maybe kind of adapting to the crystal to begin with or whatever. But on this one, actually, the stone is cut pretty well. There's and I'm kind of sad we didn't have a better piece of rough, I guess, for him to cut or whatever. But the other thing is this was a stone that was bought, and it was too dark, and
had I had the wrong facet pattern on it. It was actually this stone was previously cut, but actually had, instead of brilliant facets on the bottom, it had step cut.
So it's an oval.
Yeah, this is an oval, and this is a natural blue spinel.
Yeah.
But this stone, previously, it still looks maybe a little dark on there, but before it probably would have looked black.
Yeah. In fact, when Colton's looking at this and he's going, "What do you think of this stone?" I go, "Well, from here it looks black." And so, and I knew part of it, or most of it, was due to cutting, but I knew that we weren't going to be able to get this stone to
like sapphire blue, right? Yeah.
But it was improved quite a bit, and this is one especially I wish we'd have had, a before
picture. Yeah.
But this is a little more, to some degree, a little more difficult to do.
This would be a lot more challenging, because instead of just cutting new, because whenever he's cutting these, and a lot of guys are going to have set facet patterns, and basically they have set steps to go through with the machine in order to fashion this piece out of a piece of rough.
Right.
Now, when you have something that's already cut, and you've got to improve that cut, you got to throw all that out the window, and you basically have to start in the middle of the project. And that's very difficult to do, to make sure that facets line up, that facet junctions line up, that the angles are the right angle in conjunction with the ones that are already there that you're going to leave. And it's just really difficult to do, but he actually did a really, really nice job on this. What's even probably more impressive is how quick he did this.
Yeah.
I basically gave it to him on a Saturday.
No.
Or on a...
It was on a Friday, wasn't it?
Basically, it took him 2 days to get the 2 stones done, which was really incredible.
Maybe it was Thursday, because we got this Saturday, right?
I don't remember.
Well,
but either way, it only took him a couple of days to do this, and actually turned out really well.
I kind of figured we've got, at times, I've got a guy in New York that recuts stuff or repolishes colored stones for us.
Yeah.
Problem gets to be is we got a time delay. I've got postage two directions, and I don't have much say so on
what happens.
And not that I have a whole lot here, but what's nice about this is we can sit there and look at the stone together and decide, what's best, even though I probably I know what it needs to look like, but I'm not sure. I'm not
how to communicate that.
I'm not sure how you get there, because I don't know enough about the cutting. But
whereas sending it off to one of these other cutters, it's a lot more difficult to really communicate what needs to be done. Granted, they've got a lot more experience, and so they kind of know what needs to be done.
Right.
But there's still some loss of communication there. Obviously, there's a lot more time involved there, getting it to and from, and they've already got stuff to do, and
extra expense. So what's nice is this guy is local and
eager to learn and want
and I guess
try it.
What's most amazing to me is it seems like the stuff that we've seen so far is, he's too critical on himself. A lot of times he comes in there and apologizes for not getting, say, maybe all the pointing right, or the girdle's a little thick or something. But for the most part,
all of its minute details that most of them are like, oh, well, that's beyond passing anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you get... I remember seeing emeralds, especially smaller emeralds, where...
They might as well have been a football.
Well, that or the thickness. I mean, you have so much pavilion in there. They're trying to get that color, so they make the stone deeper and darker, and then it's a nice green, but there's no sparkle to the stone.
Yeah.
It's just kind of dead. But
yeah.
So, anyways, it's kind of a pleasant surprise. I mean, I don't know how many stones this guy's cut. He cut some rhodolite garnets that we ended up mounted in earrings for him that were really nice. So I'm going to say he's cut less than 100 stones, just kind of guessing, and maybe less than 50.
Yeah.
But
they've all been nice.
Yeah. Actually, I know I saw one of his first ones, if not the first one, and I was amazed that was his first stone. I would have said a little bit further along. It wasn't, it had some issues that you would have thought would have been taken care of for somebody that's been cutting for a while.
Yeah.
But for a first stone, it was incredible.
Yeah. So something else, and we have a lot of people ask this whenever they're coming in looking for colored stones, is about shape. And the most common shape in pretty much all the colored stones is oval. Especially you get into larger sizes, it's going to be oval or sometimes emerald cut. A lot of that is, for one, that shape lends itself really well to the natural shape of most of the colored stone rough crystals. A lot of them are elongated, and so cutting rounds out of it is not ideal because it's not the most efficient way to use the crystal. You're going to have a lot of loss of weight.
Weight loss, right.
The other thing is, too, is both the oval and the emerald cuts, or those step cuts like that, can help improve the color and saturation of the color in those stones because they can add that depth to it that round just really doesn't.
The whole
allow.
idea behind a round brilliant is to return the maximum amount of white light.
Yeah, which works well for diamonds.
Yeah. So, but what it ends up doing is it tends to wash out color.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to improve the color of a stone, you definitely don't want to do
white light.
Yeah, you don't want to get that modern round brilliant because it's gonna lighten the stone.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, I guess. There are some stones like chrome diopside and iolite, I guess, would be another one, where those stones, as they get bigger, get darker, which is really weird. It's basically chrome diopside. You get anything that's like 2 or 3 carats.
It gets almost black.
Yeah, which is weird. You can cut smaller stones and you get a nice
bright green color.
Yeah, that's even prettier than Rival's color of emerald. But get anything like, especially say a carat round and you would think that round brilliant's going to tend to lighten it. They're already starting to get dark.
Yeah.
We may try to.
There's some sapphires that can do that too.
Do we have any larger chrome diopside that we could try lightning?
Maybe.
I never thought about that. Maybe we can do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just we kind of visited with him here this week or whatever. He actually cut both of these stones this last week.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided it'd be kind of interesting. It's interesting to us that, somebody has that
capability local.
Yeah. We've, and there are probably some other ones in town. It's just this guy happened to be starting, and we kind of helped him a little bit on getting started, I guess. And now we gave him Well,
We gave him basically a whole bag of stones to recut that were chipped or broken, or some synthetics to practice on, and
yeah. I just talked to him yesterday, and he goes, "Do you know you guys gave me 14 stones?" And I go, "No, I didn't know how many we gave you." And he said, "What do you want me to do there?" And I said, "We're just giving you some stuff to kind of
play with,
practice on." And so he's, I think, probably, I'd say by tomorrow he'll probably have some of those already cut, because he was talking about what he was going to do. One of them was the smoky quartz. I think he's going to try to get 2 stones out of that. So he's going to treat it, and I haven't even told you this, he's going to treat most of them like they're a piece of rough. So, which is fine. And it's like, some of that is like some of the synthetics we pulled out of some old gold that we bought, which they weren't usable as they were anyway. So but he was real concerned that he was going to mess something up. And I go,
or not.
And I said, no. I said, just because I think it's one of those deals he needs. And he probably knows this. He needs to get a feel, because each one of those gems is a little different. Yeah.
So the hardness is going to affect things, because it's going to have to use different wheels, different polishing compounds and stuff like that, because not all of them are going to work on all the stones. Some are going to work better than others, and that was something else that we hadn't brought up yet, was hardness. Can definitely affect the cut of the stone, how it's cut, more so. But there's other factors in there that define a lot of these stones that can have a major impact in how they're cut, and one of those is cleavage and parting. And what that is it's basically certain angles within certain gemstones that allow for basically clean, flat breaks or cleavage along a certain plane. And so
to give you an idea, maybe this kind of helps a little bit. Like wood or a tree grows in, like, I'll say concentric circles or rings. So to some degree, that crystal is kind of growing the same way. So what happens is cleavage is actually parting along those growth planes. So they don't grow in circles. A lot of it is the crystal system that they actually grow in determines what they have as far as cleavage planes. And so you need to kind of know what crystal system that stone's in, and then you can somewhat orient. And this is one of those deals, it's going to take a little while to figure that out. But, like diamond has 3 directions of perfect cleavage, and one way that they would start to, say, preform that stone
is by cleaving it.
Yeah, and they just make a little curve in the diamond, and they put looks like an oversized chisel on that little curve, and whack it with a wooden mallet, and that stone will split in 2, or supposed to split in 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of
sometimes
stories.
They have to be hit a couple times.
Yeah, and sometimes I've heard where they don't get it quite oriented, and they basically shatter the stone. So
and that's not good either. So taking into consideration all of that, and then also the inclusions, there's going to be certain stones that maybe cut in one direction is going to allow an inclusion to be in the middle of the stone, whereas if it was oriented differently, it could either put it off to the side or eliminate the inclusion altogether, making a cleaner stone. So even before any facets are put on or any shape is preformed or anything, especially with colored stones, they really have to look through that stone and really orient it and pick a shape and a size, and just really kind of have it all imagined before anything is cut, so that they can get the cleanest, brightest, and most saturated colored stone.
Or accentuate that stone for its beauty, because that's what the cutter is doing, is trying to bring out the beauty of that stone.
So all those factors play into it, and that's why, with the colored stone market, there's so many different shapes and sizes and varying shapes. You can have an oval, but it can be elongated, or it can be a little bit fatter, where we call them rovels. You can have multiple types of facets put together.
That's something
like
that's a little bit frustrating for us as jewelers, because the most popular shape in the diamond world is a round.
Yeah.
And it's also the most expensive shape is a round.
Yeah.
So a lot of, let's say, our mountings or semis or whatever
are made up for round.
Yeah.
And colored stones, not so much.
Yeah. So, they can do it. There's still a lot of colored stones that are cut in rounds, but what's, I think, going to be somewhat nice here, although I've never explored the realm of buying rough, but maybe a possibility of, cutting rounds that we couldn't previously get or consistently get.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
a whole new world of stuff.
Yeah, kind of.
Or a whole nother world of stuff.
It's something that we got maybe a little closer to than what we have been. It's always been a little more distant. But,
yeah. But very interesting nonetheless.
Yeah. So it'll be kind of cool to see what he comes up with this. I'm going to call it junk that we set with.
Yeah.
He's not thinking of it that way, and some of it is not, but it's
most of it is.
Yeah, some of it is. Was not saleable to begin with.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
He's already starting to. Oh, what do you guys really want me to do with that? And I said, we're just wanting you to kind of get an idea of, it's got different hardnesses. There's different crystals or gems that he's cutting, and
different ways that it treats light.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what he comes up with. So.
Yeah, but anyway, the stones that he did just recently cut, I'll be taking some pictures of them here in just a little bit and posting them online so you can see.
We didn't take a picture of any of those either.
No, we didn't. But the ones that he has recently cut that we've shown you today, I'm going to take some more pictures and post them here on our Facebook page so you guys can see those. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions or comments or anything about stone cutting or anything in this video, or you have suggestions of something you'd like us to talk about in future episodes, please feel free to give us a comment or send us a message here on Facebook. And we really appreciate you guys tuning in and checking it out. But do you have anything else?
No.
All right.
Can't hardly wait till I'm sure we'll see some stuff this week.
Yeah. So anyway, if you guys have any questions or concerns or comments, please feel free to reach out to us here on Facebook. You can always visit our website, suzannes-jewelers.com. And you can give us a call at 361-991-7565 or stop by here at our store in Corpus Christi at 4226 South Alameda in the Town & Country Shopping Center right here at the corner of Everhart and Alameda. So we thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.